Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Sox On Tap.
Tony, my first reaction is just, fuck yes, let's go.
Sox versus Richmond. That's where it all starts. It all starts taking care of business in-house in the Central Division.
That's right, I'm a meatball.
You got to bring that top button swag, baby.
It is always great to beat the Cubs.
And I'm a homer, so I always say they're gonna.
Dallas Keuchel, Lansing got some beards that you should be afraid of.
What everybody said when he gets out there, it's me versus the other guy, and I'm going to beat him. So I just love that mentality. It's cool and fucking tough.
Steve, would you say that Tony is mad online?
I would definitely say that.
The White Sox winner.
White Sox fans, welcome into the Sox On Tap postgame show. It is Jonnie Nani here alongside Tony Marchese discussing White Sox 5-1 winner. Tony, that's another win.
It is another win, Johnny, and it feels so good. It feels good to be back on these airwaves talking about a win. You and NWI Steve held the fort down last night, talking about a win in Detroit, and now we're back here tonight doing the exact same thing. It feels good. Victory beers taste better, Johnny. I love it.
Amen to that, Tony. It's a series win, too. So you like to see that, like taking care of business there up against the Motor City Kitties, as NWI Steve would call them. Tony, I'm liking the offense. Just talking initial thoughts here. I'm liking the offense as of late, man. We've been waiting for this, and everyone said, oh, they're going to heat up when the weather heats up, and that didn't start happening until this sort of like recent stretch here over the last, I would say, like week and a half to 2 weeks, really.
Yeah, I mean, I know they're not in Chicago, but maybe they were waiting for it to be, about 105 degrees here before they started, like really turning it on. I don't know how you're holding up over there, but I've been sweating this one out all day. It's fantastic, Johnny. I love the offensive approach. I think you've gotten two guys really in my mind that stand out right off of the page. They're just jumping off at me. And one of them is AJ Pollock. He has done very well in that leadoff role. I actually really love him there. And then Danny Mendick has come in and just continued to swing a hot bat ever since replacing Tim Anderson. I think he's earned his way into the starting more often, even when Tim Anderson comes back. So those are two names that I just think right there have really helped, just by getting on base. And, then you get the big boppers behind it, driving in runs. I know they haven't all left the yard, but man, this team has been piling up some runs lately, and it's good to see.
Right, and I like that it's not just a one guy carrying it from day to day. You can see some other guys step up in that, we had talked about Sunday that Luis Robert gets in his funks. Well, guess what? He's breaking out of a funk now with a multi-hit performance last night, doing it again tonight with, same thing, 2 more hits tonight. Andrew Vaughn going 4 for 4, getting on base all 5 times. He walked in his other at bat. And then you can just go and look up and down the lineup, and you only see a couple of goose eggs in there. A lot of these multi-hit performances in here. Abreu, I know nothing like he did last night, but he still had one too. Moncada finally added an extra base hit, and it was an RBI version of it too. Tony, that was very good to see in this one. I think this, when you're talking about a just morale standpoint, how you feel about them when you're just doing the eye test, even without looking at the numbers, it feels just a lot better when you see this type of stuff strung together.
It does. And I think that, for a little bit of time there, Sockside Mike wants to know if I wore my shade. Did my shades win this game? Absolutely, Mike. When I can find these particular shades, the White Sox just seem to come out and play better baseball.
The weather calls for it, Tony. Yeah. It was pretty damn bright today.
It was pretty bright. So sometimes you got to put the shades on. They might have won this game. But Johnny, I absolutely agree with what you're saying here, man. It feels better when you're stringing this type of stuff together. For a while, it was Jake Berger who was carrying the offense. Yeah. And then it kind of turns over a little bit, and you're seeing these guys starting to heat up, multiple of them at a time in this lineup, and starting to do some damage. And that's been like the page turner for the White Sox offense, Johnny. It's you're starting to see guys just go on their hot stretches, which is something that feels like we've been waiting all year for.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Tony. I think that's a good way to put it there. And another thing that I like too is, yes, I understand the quality of the competition. You're facing a rebuilding Detroit Tigers team that has been decimated by pitching injuries. But as NWI Steve said, anytime you play the Little Sisters of the Poor, you need to step on their throats. And the White Sox were able to do that again tonight. Obviously, not approaching the double digits, close by what they did on Monday night. But hey, 5 runs tonight. Better than a lot of performances we saw earlier in the year, and then another, double-digit hit performance here, 12 in the second game of the series tonight. So I enjoy seeing that. Those are just some of my initial takeaways. Other than that, Dylan Cease, he owns the Tigers, Tony. 10-0 now during his career. Wasn't the prettiest tonight, but he got the job done.
Yeah, I mean, Dylan Cease has just been an absolute monster against the Detroit Tigers. I thought the NBC White Sox Talk tweet earlier would have cursed his start, but it wound up not doing so. That first inning was a little touch and go there for a bit. I mean, a double play could get you out of that inning. At one point, he turns and throws. I thought that was the worst play the White Sox made all day, was that failed pickoff attempt that led to a run on that error there with the bases loaded, 2 outs. No reason to be doing that. But after he got through that, he kind of worked a little bit too hard there in the first couple innings, but he still, I mean, I'm pretty sure the strikeout over under was at 7.5. He still beats that. So if you bet the over on him there today, you're taking home some money. It puts his team in a position to win a ball game. I'm going to give the offense a little bit of credit here because I thought that, if you don't go out there and kind of set the tone, Jonnie, it could have been a different start for Dylan Cease, but they gave him some room to work and he settled in very nicely.
You covered it there a little bit. I think the only time I was really kind of frustrated, flustered, pissed, I guess, was in that first inning on that decision by Cease to go and throw. You got the bases loaded there, and he goes and throws a pickoff attempt to second base. That's a lot of movement, and you're spinning around, contorting your body, and then having to throw, and then obviously you have to time it with whatever middle infielder is covering there. And it was Danny Mendick who was able to barely get a glove on it, but the error goes to Cease. That allowed the only Tigers run of this game. After that, it is kind of hard to even fathom when you just go and look overall that the White Sox ever trailed at one point in this game, Tony, because the White Sox able to just go and, bounce right back. Second inning there, that's where they take the lead, and they would not relinquish it. And they kept adding on, which is nice. 2 in the second, 2 in the fifth, 1 more in the sixth. Probably had an opportunity for a few other scoring chances throughout the game. Well, that's all right. They had theirs, and the bullpen was able to lock it down. Speaking of the bullpen, Tony, about Jimmy Lambert, just called up today. Couple innings, looked really good in my opinion.
Looked great. Might have been the best we've seen out of Jimmy Lambert there. Quick, efficient, got the job done, Jonnie. I mean, it just grade A stuff today from Jimmy Lambert, and I was reading some notes pregame. Darryl Van Cowan tweet said that Tony La Russa, commented him as a possible ninth inning guy. I'm sitting there kind of chuckling at that one. Not sure if that's gamesmanship from TLR to kind of throw off. Ultimately, we'll get to who closed this ball game. But when Jimmy Lambert came in, I was kind of eating words there. I was going to be so nervous about having to watch him throw because and I feel bad now because guy goes out there and shoves, give credit where credit's due, and he had a fucking hell of a ball game today, Jonnie.
Yeah, I really like the movement on the changeup. There were a few of them in there that were just dropping off the table, and it looked almost Lucas Giolito-esque because we whenever you talk about a great changeup in the game, Lucas Giolito is always one of the first ones that come to mind. Well, Jimmy Lambert had shades of that tonight, so I enjoyed seeing that from him, and obviously the scoreless marks from him out of the pen. He struck out 2 in his 2 innings of work, only allowed 1 hit. Joe Kelly back from the injured list as well today as part of the White Sox roster moves, and he comes in, tosses a scoreless inning of his own, records 2 strikeouts. He was pumping that baby in there 99 miles an hour on some of those fastballs, Tony. I know you love to see that.
I love Joe Kelly, Jonnie. I love it because you talk about the changeup. I love the high heat stuff. I love a fuck you fastball. It's one of my favorite pitches in the game. And Kelly comes in there, and God, it's just a sight for sore eyes getting this man back in your bullpen. He's another competitor. I know everybody was talking yesterday about the return of Lance Lynn and the fire and the passion and the stuff that he brings to that starting rotation and just the dugout when he's in a game. Joe Kelly, when he's competing in a game, kind of has that same little edge to him, just a little bit of fuck you in what he does. And to have him back in an 8th inning role, in a 7th inning role, doesn't matter. He's just a welcome addition back to the bullpen. Glad he's recovered. Looked good out there on the mound today. Was a absolute sight for sore eyes.
Yes, and I really like the timing of Joe Kelly coming back here, because obviously you would have liked to just have him throughout this whole stretch, because I was at that game when he exited early with that hamstring tweak, but he had struck out both of his batters before that. So you're like, God damn it, he's just starting to get going. Of course, he gets derailed with another injury. A, I like the no rust as soon as he comes back, but B, I do like him getting an inning before you go and face a tougher, stauncher competition in the Houston Astros this weekend. And you talk about the fire.
It's nice that that's Detroit, though, Johnny. I want to stop you for 1 second and just say that's a Detroit sucks moment right there.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, we could do this title every single show against the Tigers. Detroit sucks when we make these, Tony. So yeah, the point there. But when I'm going about Kelly here is that he's had a history with those Astros, right? With granted he was with the Dodgers at the time, but that whole kind of dust up and making faces, and that got really famous and blew up viral moment there on the interwebs a couple of years back. But I do think it'll be great to have him back in the mix when you face a staunch Astros lineup this weekend. So I did also, as much as Tony La Russa wants to say afterward that, we feel comfortable getting him out there anytime. I do believe that when he says that, but at the same time, whenever anybody comes back, you probably do want to test it out in a lower level situation. I was glad the White Sox offense afforded them the opportunity to do so with Joe Kelly returning from the injured list tonight. Hey, how about the guy who closed it down? Reynaldo Lopez. Obviously not a safe situation, but he made quick work of the Tigers. He did allow 1 hit, but also struck out 2 of his own there. Is Raylo auditioning for the closer role, Tony? Debate.
I think I kind of asked that question to the group, and everybody's kind of gone in some different directions with this, Johnny. And, is Raylo auditioning for the closer role? I'm not sure, but you have to give some context to this. Obviously, Liam Hendriks hits the IL today. He hadn't been available. Sox fans are big mad online. I'm big mad online because
I'm concerned online.
You're concerned online. I'm big mad because I want to see Liam Hendriks closing ball games, and all of a sudden, I was talking with Steve the other day, and just a friendly little phone call back and forth. And I'm like, did you notice anything? And he goes, yeah, like I think this guy's hurt. And all of a sudden we get this news today of actually what's going on, Johnny. And concerned online is probably a good way to put it after you hear this roster move. So if you want to ask, is Raylo auditioning for closer? I think we got to give some context here. So I'll toss it back to you while I formulate some thoughts on this.
Yeah, I did. One of our topics here that we have to address is that Liam Hendriks injury that you talked about. Tony, when you hear the word forearm relating to a pitcher, especially one that throws hard, it is usually never a good sign. We've heard it so many times, the precursor to Tommy John. And I know that you and I discussed a little bit ahead of the show that there are ways that the White Sox can compensate for this. And there are some certain situations that may not make it be the end of the world if that were to happen. But my gosh, I've just had enough of these injuries to key star big money players that we have here on this roster. And you talk about, are we ever going to have the full gang back together? It feels like never. That's never going to be a problem. And I understand 162 game grind. You're going to have your fair share of injuries. Not expecting it to be everybody full go all the time. That's just unrealistic. However, it is one thing after another, and it's always one step forward, one step back. It feels like, because that right is, we're excited to have Kelly back on the same breath. It's Liam Hendriks to the IL forearm strain. I know Rick Hahn made a few comments. It said that it was a flexor strain, and they are going to give him some treatment, see how he responds to that. Preliminary timeline, 3 weeks. That initially doesn't sound good. That's because a 15-day IL stint is longer than 3 weeks, just so you know. Excuse me, 3 weeks is longer than a 15-day IL stint. So it just concerned online is where I'm at with Liam Hendriks, Tony. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I'm concerned as well. I mean, let's put this in perspective here for just a second. This is one of the most major acquisitions that the White Sox had made over the course of the quote unquote rebuild, to shore up the back end of the bullpen. This isn't in anybody's plans. This is not in Rick Hahn's plans. This isn't in Tony La Russa's plans. It's not in Jerry Reinsdorf plans. It's not in your plans if you're listening to this show to have to sit here and think about what this team's going to have to go through now with Liam Hendriks down at the back end of a bullpen that looks like a fucking carousel right now. No, it's not fucking good, and it's okay to be upset about it.
It's bad. Okay,
it is bad. It's bad, but why I think it's not the most concerning thing, Jonnie, is because you do have a little bit of depth here. You do have a guy like Joe Kelly and Kendall Graveman who have their own issues and concerns. You've seen Kendall Graveman kind of just, maybe on some innings limits, but he's got closer experience. I think he could get through an inning fairly cleanly. You've got Joe Kelly who can be trusted there. But Reynaldo Lopez, if you want to go back to this, is Raylo auditioning for closer, Jonnie? Reynaldo Lopez had elite shit, in the minor leagues. There's a reason why they acquired him. He's got the high velocity. He can get through three hitters real easy. I remember if we go back to our Shy Sox weekly days, Jonnie, I said I don't think Reynaldo Lopez is a starter. I think he should be in the bullpen, and he can have some elite stuff. If you got to think outside the box here, at the back end of the bullpen, if there's a guy that can come in and who had that prospect pedigree, who can deliver high velocity, unleash it, he's been used in kind of a mop-up role up until this point, or a bridge guy.
I think he's just been an as-needed guy.
He's really been an as-needed guy. But I think, I don't know. I said the other week, Jonnie, it's either going to be cinematic or it's going to be a dumpster fire. The cinematic route here, if it is worst-case scenario for Liam Hendriks, at least in my eyes, is that, the cinematic route is Reynaldo Lopez holds it down for a while. And I think he's got the stuff to do it. I don't know if he would have thought entering the season that was going to be a role that he could potentially even be used in. I don't think anybody did, but hey, who knows? I think he just has the arsenal over some of the other guys to do that. I know you can make some contentions for Jose Ruiz to be there. I don't know if he's got the same stuff Reynaldo Lopez does. You can make a case that Kendall Graveman can do it, but I don't think that, and unless you see them unleash Kendall Graveman and let him go back-to-back days, I think Raylo's your guy that's stretched out enough to do that right now, Jonnie, and it just makes sense to me. I'm curious for your thoughts.
Yeah, I like our guy Sox Insane's comment here, and I was down the same path. Graveman, Kelly, Lopez, 3 solid options to finish games. I concur. A lot has been made about the White Sox misallocating their resources, right? In terms of spending a lot in this bullpen. Well, sure, I understand the process behind that, and you don't. Obviously, we had other areas of need that were hurting them early in the season, so I understand the frustrations from that. But now, if you get a situation like this, and let's just assume worst case scenario, just for the sake of discussion here, Tony, and say that Liam Hendriks needs Tommy John, and he's done here for this. Well, you've got some of these guys that are also viable options that are all right below me here. Thanks to our guys, Sox Insane, Graveman, Kelly, Lopez, all there, and also guys that you invested some money in, save for Lopez there. But Kelly, Graveman, obviously offseason acquisitions like Liam Hendriks was in a year prior. to that. So I would like to see in it, and then the other thing too is people said feels like Graveman's on a weird innings limit. Okay, I can see that, but maybe now do you unleash him if this is the case a little bit and let him go and let him stretch out? Because in my mind, he has been the de facto option when you talk about that. And Tony La Russa said if Liam wasn't available, he said it multiple times, it was Graveman was going to be the guy to close that down. Graveman was going to be in that spot, whatever it may be. So I do think there is some insurance there, and maybe the like I said, misallocation can come back and be at least a bit of a savior here in some sort of kind of weird roundabout way. Obviously, this is assuming worst case scenario for Liam Hendriks. So let's just hope that he does respond well to that treatment and he's back at some point here. But obviously not going to see him until, I would imagine, when you're looking at it right now, we're at June 14th here. All-Star breaks roughly a month away. Probably not until after, if we're being realistic with we know what we know about forearms, and with Hahn already saying 3 weeks before he's even received said treatment.
Yeah, and the concerning portion to me, Jonnie, and there's a large sector of people who have been largely critical of how the White Sox have handled some of these injuries, how they've handled all this. Obviously, you haven't seen Liam Hendriks in a ball game for a while. Where are you at with this? Has it been a, oh my God, my forearm's sore? All right, well, let's look at it. How bad is it? Like, there's so many different scenarios here. Would you have had him on the IL sooner to carry that extra pitcher on this roster?
You did it as soon as you could. He appeared on Friday night of the Rangers series. Correct me if I'm wrong. June 10th. If I'll go back and look at Liam Hendriks' game logs.
I think the IL was retroactive to the 11th or the 12th, somewhere.
So you did it as soon as you possibly could. No, nothing wrong with the management of this one.
Okay. I'm just curious because
it'd be different if he didn't pitch in that game, but.
Well, yeah, because it takes a little bit of time to figure out what's going on with that forearm thing. It's kind of consistent with.
It wasn't like he blew up or had, at least, like I said, I was not there in a time. I did not watch Liam Hendriks in person, so I could not tell you exactly what he was doing in between pitches that night. But however, when I just go back and look at that game log, it wasn't like a blow up inning where you could tell something was clearly physically wrong with him. And like I said, then you put him on retroactive to as soon as you possibly could after his last outing. So I'm okay with how they handled this one then.
Here's the other thing too that I just want to put in perspective, and I just thought of. You don't know if it started to nag there, and the next time he went and threw a bullpen or long toss or whatever it is, that's where it happened. You just never know.
Only Liam Hendriks could tell you that, and you're not going to hear from him for a while if he's on the injured list.
Yeah. So that's just, it's concerning, but I don't think it's as significant, Jonnie, as, just to put it into perspective. If you got worst case scenario news on Tim Anderson throughout the remainder of the year versus Liam Hendriks.
Right.
I guess I'm going with Liam Hendriks is down. There's some other options in the bullpen versus trying to, take this thing as far as we can without Timmy.
Right, and I'll just build on that, though. The reason why, just a little bit, because you want all of your weapons at your disposal if you want to go and take this thing as far as you possibly can, Tony. So that's just where my concern stems from Liam Hendriks. And like I said, just the nature of hearing forearm. If I heard shoulder, it would be just another IL stint, right? Just we've already endured enough of these this year. I already understand that. And as a former pitcher, I understand shoulders get sore. It's, it's a strenuous motion there. But the forearm obviously leads to the surgery that ends up putting you out for a year plus. So that's just where my mind wanders as soon as I hear the word forearm mentioned. So that about wraps up Liam Hendriks' injury. We are, like I said, we're speculating. We're doing things for the sake of discussion here. Let's wait, see what the next update is, and we'll go from there. That's all we can do right now. So, and where do we go from here now in the immediate future, Tony? Is to sweep a series against the Detroit Tigers here. Game 3, it'll be a matinee finale, 12:10 p.m. Central Time start on Wednesday, June 15th. Vince Velasquez, Tony La Russa, # confirmed that he will be activated from the IL before that game, and he will face Alex Fido of the Detroit Tigers in this one. Tony, it's been way too long since we got the brooms out. It's time to do it.
It absolutely is. And, I just want to go back to something that has been said on this show before, Jonnie. It all starts right here, taking care of business in the Central Division. If there's a team that the White Sox can use just as a stepping stone, as a punching bag, it's the Detroit Tigers. Go win this game tomorrow. Detroit sucks. Just, man, it feels so terrible when you're playing a series against a team like New York and they make you look bad. I want Detroit fans to just absolutely hate every single time the White Sox roll through Detroit. I don't know if you noticed this. Maybe it's just me. Watching the broadcast over the past 2 games, Jonnie, it seems dead there in Detroit. Probably always does, but extra dead for some reason. I want it to remain that way because I like hearing White Sox fans cheer on the broadcast when Jose Abreu hits 2 home runs in Detroit. Just, makes me feel a little extra special inside being a White Sox fan, knowing that we're living rent-free in Detroit fans' heads.
Yeah, and
I know Steve would appreciate that. I think you would appreciate that.
Yeah, right. Detroit sucks. I mean, we spill that over into our Blackhawks Four Feathers pod, realm as well, Tony. But with that, you talk about using them as a stepping stone, a punching bag, whatever you want to call it. I enjoy those terms. When you and I we had discussed a little bit on Sunday Funday struggles, how do we get out of this, and just some kind of general commiserating, like we do often on the show, unfortunately, so far this year. But one thing I said is use these teams as something to ignite the offense. And I know that they had started to do that a little bit before, but unfortunately they weren't putting together complete games, even when they were scoring a lot of runs against teams like the Texas Rangers. But doing it all, I feel like it's good for the bats to get those rolling, especially we're going to play a highly potent offensive team this weekend in the Houston Astros. But then also just building team morale. Because they need the good vibes. I liked hearing Andrew Vaughn say that in his post-game interview. Granted, he was just talking about, some of the dugout antics that were going on there. He used the term good vibes, though. I feel like it's been a while since I've heard that come from a White Sox player's mouth. And then obviously you got the little energy boost, the dust up in the dugout, but providing the give a shit, the hashtag TWTW from Lance Lynn in the series opener here on Monday night. So I think this could bode well, and a sweep would go a long way from further building on that.
Hey, just rack up wins against teams you can beat. Simple. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, sweep Detroit. Let's get out of there and go play a competitive series against Houston. I mean, it could be a really good week to be a White Sox fan. I'm tired of the 1 step forward, 2 step back stuff. You've got a nice hard little test after you get out of Detroit. Use this to further build the momentum. You want to be going into Sunday Night Baseball with the White Sox on, they're, winning 3, 4, 5 in a row coming into that game. That would be really cool. It would be a totally different tone for this season, for this White Sox team. You have the opportunity tomorrow to set the stage for that.
Yes, you do. All right. If they're going to do that, who's helping them get it done, Tony? Pick to click for the series finale against the Tigers.
AJ Pollock, man. That guy's he's seeing the ball so well right now. I think that, I said this earlier in the show. I like him in that leadoff spot, especially when Timmy's not in the lineup. He hit a fucking absolute frozen rope that got tracked down late in that ball game today. I want to see maybe AJ Pollock park one into into the left field stands tomorrow, Johnny.
Yeah, AJ Pollock's swinging it well right now, Tony. I like that pick. And that, let's be honest, that double that he hit off the very, very tippy top of that yellow line of the wall that obviously came back into play, that's a home run in most other places because Detroit is a spacious ballpark. So would have been nice to see an AJ Pollock dinger, but hopefully he can get one out of the yard for you for your pick the click selection in the series finale. I'm going to go with the guy who left the yard twice in the series so far, and that's Mr. Jose Abreu. I felt like it would have been very easy to take him in this one when Steve and I were making our picks for game 2, but I saved it. So since I did save it, I'll go and use my card, lay it down, cash it in. Jose Abreu leading the way.
I love it, Johnny. I think he's definitely been one of the hottest White Sox bats. If the trend continues with Jose Abreu, you're going to see him definitely continue to stay on this hot streak. And I think it's a fair play from you right here.
All right. I like it. All right. I like our picks, confident in those, and I am confident White Sox can get a sweep. Michael Slores, he says Alex Fido is tough, not going to be easy to score, but hey, I like our chances better now that the bats are going a little bit as opposed to them being ice cold earlier in the year. So at least the White Sox do have that a little bit of mo behind them on their side, Tony. All right, final thoughts from this one, and then we'll wrap this baby up.
Hey, talking about wins is awesome, Johnny. It is Detroit. It's not a huge game on the schedule, just your casual June night.
Matinee, afternoon.
You've got to. No, I'm talking about final thoughts from tonight. From tonight, just your casual June night. But you put yourself in a position to sweep tomorrow in that matinee you talked about. Man, this team needs to rack up wins. They got the job done tonight against a team that is an inferior opponent. They got to go back out and do the same tomorrow. As our guy Michael just said, not going to be easy to score runs. Not an excuse. Go get the job done tomorrow. Start to right this ship by beating the teams you should beat. Let's go. I think the Sox can take this tomorrow.
Yep. Summed it up pretty well, Tony. My last thoughts. I think Steve led the way on this more last night, so I'll add one more into my own. Detroit sucks. Detroit sucks. Get the chance going. I love it. Listeners, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate all of you in this comment section here. Make sure you subscribe to On Tap Sportsnet on YouTube so you can join the chat here on the live stream and we can pull your comments up, feature them on the show, get some good points of discussion going in addition to the topics that we have laid out previously. So make sure you're following us on social media at Sox On Tap, at On Tap Sportsnet, and visiting ontapsportsnet.com for all your Chicago White Sox news and updates in addition to all your favorite Chicago sports teams. We cover it all there on tapsportsnet.com. Tony, let's go. Get the brooms out on a Wednesday afternoon in Detroit. White Sox forever.
White Sox forever.